Hi, it's Kelly again. Yeah, so I just got done watching a video, from Daniel, Mr. Repsion, and he did a reply video to, Onision, Greg, I think his name is, and, apparently Greg was making fun of fat people in one of his videos and, made a weird song about it, and I don't know, it wasn't really that funny to me, but I mean, it was about being fat and how fat people can't get hot girls, and that they're all lazy and they have diabetes and they have no self-respect, and then they're killing themselves slowly, kind of. Granted, there are some fat people, or I like to say obese or overweight, because fat just, that's what people use to make fun of other big people, you know what I mean? They use fat because it just sounds crude. I don't think it's fair, because a lot of people have diseases that are, they're very hard to deal with, and I mean, it's not just diseases. There's people that have to do medicine that cause obesity. There's all kinds of things. First of all, I kind of wanted to make a point about agreeing and disagreeing. I don't agree with everyone, but I can agree with someone I've disagreed with before. And my agreements and disagreements are opinions and not always facts. You go to somebody's video and you say something about them, and you say something like that was hypocritical or stupid, or whatever you say about it. If you're criticizing it, unless it is a fact, unless it is something that is obviously true, that can be proven, then it's just an opinion. Agreeing / disagreeing does not mean I think the person is stupid or inferior to me or on my level. When you disagree with somebody, you tend to judge them by what you're disagreeing with them. Okay. When I pass judgments, it's because I have done everything I can to research the subject and observe. And I observe carefully. Or I don't judge them at all. I don't look at someone at the store who's torn in jeans and a dirty shirt and automatically say, oh, they're homeless, they must be homeless. They could easily be a construction worker or a painter, That's just an example of when your judgment is invalid. It's natural for every living human to judge one another, and sometimes it's harmless as long as it doesn't hurt them. But when people focus so much on that individual's flaw, it really can cause damage to that person. When you humiliate others for something that you don't find appealing, but you know so little about, you could easily cause that person to become emotionally tainted because of the unnecessary and emotionally warping judgments. It can cause more mental issues and can very easily result in physical harm or death by suicide. So unless you really like making others feel like dying, then just leave it alone. Is it really worth making them feel like complete scum of the earth because they're fat, or because of some unappealing appearance to you that, you find unappealing? If you want to be a good person, if you believe to be a good person, and most people don't want to be bad people, most people do want to be good people. then you wouldn't do so. You wouldn't want to do something like that. If you just want something to laugh at, if you just want to find humor in something and, get rid of your boredom or something, like people who troll and stuff like that on the internet and call people names and stuff and make jokes about shit that really isn't that funny. There's better ways to do it. There's more mature ways to do it. I mean, when you're a 15-year-old boy, it's kind of understandable if you're young and you're a little kid in high school and you find all this and that funny. You should know what's right and what's wrong, but, that happens. It happens when you're young, you're immature, and everything that, is told to you that is funny to you. It's just stupid. I don't know. But to defend something so asinine and so immature and childish, it shows what kind of person you really are, or that you are on the way of becoming. After a short while of having my disease, I stopped myself from judging other people. No one is perfect, and I don't know their stories. Even if it was their own fault for being homeless, fat, or wearing something I wouldn't, it doesn't hurt me or anyone else, so it is not my position to judge them. My priorities do not include this. It says, I used to judge people when I was younger, but when I got slapped and beat up by what we call reality, I came to realize I'm no different than they are, and I should never spend my time criticizing them ever again. Instead, I now would rather embrace them and then get to know them. When you look at somebody that you're judging, you automatically have, a low form of respect for them. You look at them in disgust, like they're not worth your time or something. But if you actually got to know somebody, you probably would like them. You probably wouldn't even have the same view of what you did in the first place. All the thought of them being fat and that being a bad thing and that being a problem to you will probably go away, because they probably have a really good personality. Most of the time they will probably have a good personality if you get to know them. What if they worked in a hospital in the emergency room? What if you're dying? You know what I mean? What if you got stabbed in the stomach and you're bleeding to death? Or not in the stomach. I don't know if you would automatically die. But what if you got stabbed and you're like bleeding, really fast, and you need to help, and there is this person that you made fun of right there helping you, and they save your life. Then what the hell are you gonna say to them? Okay. Here are some examples of diseases that cause obesity. For some of you people out there that think that obesity is just because you're lazy and that you don't do anything, that you eat nothing but fried butter or some shit, let me name off some diseases. Now, some of these some people do use it as an excuse, I guess, like the hyperthyroidism. You can definitely get up and exercise, but some people, unless you're in their position, you never know how it feels. You never know what it takes to go through it. And some people just don't know. There's a lot of things that people have to go through that it's really hard to actually put time into making themselves thin. Cushing's syndrome. That's due to my steroids. But Cushing's syndrome, no matter what you eat, no matter if you try to exercise, you're gaining weight. No matter what. It's because of what is that? Okay, it's because of the high dose of cortisol. Some people are really skinny, and then they just automatically get weight. Just like they gain like 200 pounds automatically, and they don't know what happened. And when they go to the hospital, that's when they figure out that they have a tumor in their pituitary. But that's something they can't help. No matter what they do, no matter how active or what I mean, anything, no matter what they eat or do, they gain weight with Cushing's syndrome. Hypothyroidism is where the thyroid gland in the neck can't produce enough thyroid hormones, causing low metabolism. Okay, so low metabolism is what gets you going, what starts to burn the fat. If you have a high metabolism, that is a good thing because that means it's burning fat. And I think one way that you can get a better metabolism is get up early in the morning and eat breakfast. Eat a good breakfast. You can't just eat a piece of bread or a breakfast bar. You can't, you know what I mean? You have to have a good, like, wholesome, nutrient-filled breakfast. You have to have protein and vitamins. I would suggest like eggs and piece of toast and a piece of fruit. That would be fine. Another thing that can cause obesity is depression. Believe it or not, it can cause overeating. People like Mr. Epsilon, he said in his video that eating is a coping mechanism. And it is. It really is. People who have depression tend to cope with eating a lot of times, like more times than anything else, almost. And self-harm or crying. I mean, just depression is not a good thing because I've been through it. But it can cause overeating, and that can cause obesity. Insomnia. Getting sleep is very important to your health. Yeah, but if you don't sleep, then that can definitely have a lot of effect on your weight. And insomnia is not something, neither is depression, but insomnia and depression is nothing that somebody can choose to have or just quit having the next day. You can't just switch that shit on like a fucking switch. To say you are disgusted with obese people is such an ignorant statement unless it actually physically or medically affects you. Most people you see that are extremely overweight know this about themselves and probably receive a lot of medical attention. Just because a fat person eats meat does not indicate that they don't eat healthy. Okay, obese people are not the only people who get blindly criticized for their appearance. Some people have things they can't help no matter what. And no matter what they try, they can't help it. For example, if a cancer patient goes through really harsh chemotherapy, then they could lose their teeth. because the chemo has caused zero stamina. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to pronounce these words because I've never heard of them before. Zero stamina, which is dry mouth. It's the medical term for dry mouth, which will cause tooth decay. Chemo can disrupt the balance of good and harmful bacteria, causing tooth decay. That when we see someone we don't find appealing or normal, we judge them and single them out expressing what they should be doing with themselves, or when in the real world they know exactly what they need or what is making them unappealing or abnormal. And they are probably struggling with it or in pain because of it. It's not always their fault. So instead of using such a passionate opposition towards them, by try using it towards people who have no place in our society, who do nothing for anyone and hurts everyone. A good example would be a child molester that repeats their offenses throughout their lives and never stops. And they act like it's okay to do so. That should be an appropriate reason of disgust, not fat people. When you have such opportunity to utilize internet video making for a massive fan base, you waste it on judging others, because it's not appealing to you, and you think that you automatically know their situation. Then why not try making a video talking about things that are good, like why life is worth living, or maybe influence good eating habits by explaining the benefits and not using a random obese person of which you know little to nothing about, to promote healthy eating. No matter how disgusting an obese person eating meat to you is, it's going to happen, and you will never convince anyone to stop by humiliating them on YouTube. I would never judge somebody because they were fat or the way they looked. I would always judge them by their character, and I don't even do that much anymore. Really, I don't judge anybody, and I leave it alone. If they seem like I don't get along with them or I can't, I'm not gonna bother them. I'm not gonna comment on them. I'm not gonna do anything because I don't want to deal with that stupid shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to be around people that judge other people. Why would I want to be that myself? Next video, I'll have some drawings or a sketch or something, some of my artwork, and I'll show you. So be ready. Bye.